So, hi, Mr. Ab. How are you today?
Doing good. How about yourself?
I'm awesome. Thanks. So, let me introduce you. This is Stolen Nolan. I call him Mr. Ab, of course. And congrats is in order for our new English teacher. Hey.
Thank you.
Yes, yes. So, I'm very proud of you. That is so exciting. So, are you like excited? Like what?
Definitely. I'm excited because for me, I'm excited because it's more, at least one more African American English teacher, teaching, our students. All students deserve, the best education possible. But a lot of the problems that I'm seeing, just, student observing and just going through schools is that kids, like children of color, really very rarely see representation of themselves. So that's why I'm really excited about it.
Right, and that is very important for our culture. So I totally respect that. That's so awesome. So, Mr. Ab, before I get into all these questions for you, why don't you tell our audience a little about yourself?
All right, well, Stolen Nolan here. Kirk Abernathy is my name. So, um, I worked in banking for a little over 20 years. That was an experience for me. It helped me provide for my family, and I enjoyed it. I love the people that I work with. I love the banking industry. Within that industry, I did get to, somewhat teach. Early on in my career, I did work with learning and development, and that was more of getting new hires, interested in what it is to do customer service, banking. So that within itself is teaching. I've also stayed in Manila for 2 years. I was there teaching as well. I've also went to Dubai. That wasn't more so teaching. That was just, a way to unwind and get away from it all. But if you ever get the opportunity to travel, Manila, check out some of the islands there. They're very beautiful, friendly people. Or Dubai, that is a beautiful place.
And you know what? I mean, with the braids and everything,
Right.
like, and
Yeah,
the beard
yeah.
and everything, I could see you in
Lemon
Dubai.
locks.
Okay, it's like, look at you fit. I'm sure you fit right in. Like,
Yeah,
wow.
definitely.
Yeah, yeah.
True, true.
That sounds very exciting, like really. So let me ask you because I know that you just graduated and all. So what were some of the challenges that you had returning to school?
Well, one of the biggest challenges returning to school when you're, older, and you're not really staying at home, you really have you're established in your own right.
Right.
And that is taking a pay cut, not because the job cut your pay, it's because you had to work less hours because of school. So student teaching within itself, that's a whole job. That's a full-time job for almost 4.5, 5 months.
Wow.
So that means I had to cut the hours back from my actual job, which put a strain a little bit on your family because
And
you're
that was my
starting.
next question as well, was the strain that it might have put, the effect that it had put on you and your family with you, returning to school. Not saying that was a bad thing because I think that it's awesome, but as you were describing the pay cut because of the less hours you had to adapt to while returning to school. So I understand that it had an effect on it, but how did you overcome? Like, because I know that you have a nice size family, and not to mention the nice size bills that comes along with it.
Facts,
So how
definitely.
did you really get through it, and was it worth it?
As far as is it worth it? Absolutely. It's worth it because my children see me going through the things that I went through just to get the education at this age, motivated them to reach for their dreams. and not give up on anything.
Oh, that's awesome.
Because the one thing that I have always instilled in them, no matter what you do the best at it, and give it your all. Don't do anything half, give half percent of you, because in the end, the result is all about what you put in, is what you're going to get out of it. And the string, as far as family, well, I mean, I have a great family, I have a great wife, have a great, great kids who all put forth that effort to make sure that I stayed on the path that I was going on to get the degree that I'm getting. I'm still not done yet. I still have a little bit more to go,
Right.
but with my family behind me, there's nothing that I can't do. And that's one thing I can say about, my little family is we are close knit. We're
Yeah.
family. So we have our disagreements, of course, but when it boils down to it all, we make sure that we have each other's back wholeheartedly. If
That
one of
is
us is
awesome.
falling,
That was
one of
my
us is
next
falling.
question.
Oh,
That
go ahead.
definitely was my next question, was the support system. Who is your biggest support system?
Well, you know what, my entire family, from my spouse to my kids, that they're my backbone of it all. I won't say, oh, everybody, because everyone is happy for me, and I do appreciate all the accolades that everyone has given me.
Right.
But at the end of the day, my children is the one who have to see me doing
Right.
more with myself, opposed to being out here drinking, drugging, and doing all other kinds of negative things. I decided to take a positive route.
Oh,
So
wow.
therefore, that they can see that you are never too old to achieve something.
Yes.
You're never too old to believe in yourself and shoot for the sky, because to me, I'm always among the stars.
Yeah.
And my stars, my North Stars, are my children.
Yeah. Yeah. And I can relate to that because when I went back to school, it was because, again, I wanted to be an influence on my children, because we can say all day school is, you need school.
Right.
School is the best thing, to help you achieve, to get ahead. But to tell them is one thing, but to show them is another. And it got to the point where I felt like, you know what? I can show you better than I can tell you. And so when I went back to school, I felt good, because I knew that it impacted my children to see at such a mature age that I decided to go back to school. Right. And they were proud of me. You know what I'm saying? So that made me feel really good that not only did I inspire them and set a positive example for them, but I also made them even more proud of me than normal, because I think that we have such a great connection, me and my children as well, and that we're tight knitted. So we're always proud of one another, because at the end of the day, we all have something to show, rather it's the strength in the family, like you said, the support system, just being connected, just always being for one another. Now, again, no family is perfect. No family has no flaws, so, but at the end of the day, it doesn't keep us from being that strong knitted family that supports one another in the decisions that we make. And don't misunderstand that when I say that we support, we definitely do, but we also let them know, if it's something that they need to do even more or better. So I get with that. I appreciate that. You are awesome. I mean, just to achieve the things that you're achieving and the reason why is amazing, not only just for your family, but for our young African American children that's being, taught, but not really being taught enough for our culture. So to add another African American teacher, an English one at that, is awesome. And I totally applaud you, because that's just puts us that much closer to our children really understanding and knowing where they come from and who they are. and
Absolutely.
that they do matter, so that's excellent. Thank you for that. So I know that it's the subject that you're teaching is English. Why did you choose that subject? I mean, I know that I just said a mouthful, but explain to
Yeah.
everybody.
Truthfully, English has truly always been a passion of mine because it is so diverse. And a lot of times you will hear some people telling, especially, Black kids or African American children or children of color, whatever name they've given
Right,
us now,
right,
that the way they speak is improper. When I at one point joined that bandwagon and say, well, is a specific way that you really should be speaking. And in some circles, it is true. It is definitely true. But there is nothing wrong with speaking AAVE, that's African American Vernacular English. And it's acceptable. Why? Because it's a part of who we are, it's a part of our culture, and is a part of our being. And that's what connects us to a lot of the people that we interact with.
right,
Rather or not, it's, say, a student in a school or a teller at a bank. Within our own environment, with our own community, we connect using our standard of English. And it doesn't necessarily have to be what they claim is proper English when we're speaking it. Yes,
right,
some points, what we're teaching is that, well, I can't say what we're teaching, what I am teaching is that it's okay for you to be authentically you. And it is unfortunate that people of color, mostly, Black and brown kids, have to navigate this world switching who they are, code
yeah,
switching. They have to be these perfect people in front of some people, and then they can be their authentic selves when they're at home, or
right,
code meshing, where
right,
they intertwine the two types of communities
right,
to make something new.
mm,
And my job as an educator is to ensure that the students understand that it's okay being you. There's nothing wrong with who you are. There's nothing
right,
wrong with the way you speak. But you have to understand that navigating in the US is kind of tricky. So my job as an educator is to teach them how to code mesh, how to code switch, to make sure that when they are doing it, they are not losing who they are in the process of it. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, I would never tell a Black or brown child, student, that what they're saying is wrong. No,
right,
what you are saying is different than how I would say it.
right,
But in this circle, this is what you should be saying. Outside of this circle, you can definitely use whatever vernacular you want. But when you're trying to get something, unfortunately, you can't really be 100% authentic within yourself
right,
unless it's your own business. If it's your business, your company, you're running it, then of course you can speak however it is that you want to. But it's sad that we send our children into an education system where there is no representation of them.
right,
And that's a lot of the reason that we're seeing a lot of Black and brown children say, you know what, I'm done with school. Why? Because I don't see me in anything that's being taught to me. And I want to ensure that throughout my education, I will follow their curriculum, but I will always allow my students to be authentically them. And I will teach them how to be authentically them, traveling in several different circles. So therefore, there is nowhere they can't go where they can't fit in. You
oh
know,
my God, that is amazing. That's awesome. I applaud you. I applaud you for that because we need more of that. We need someone, to represent for our Black children, to let them know that you can still be you and be able to work in this system. You know what I'm saying?
absolutely,
So,
absolutely.
with that being said, I think that you are definitely going to be an asset to our
Thank you,
education system.
thank you.
Um,
I appreciate it.
I think that they were awesome to have, you know, opened those doors for intelligent and caring people such as yourself. You know,
Thank
I mean, and we need more of you, you
you.
know,
Definitely.
out here because it's gonna take a village, you know.
It
And
does.
that's nice to see that right now you're starting it. So we appreciate you, Mr. Ab.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
let me ask you this. So at the end of the day, I and you explained to us, you know, why you're doing it. So at the end of the day, what are you personally getting out of this?
That's an excellent question.
Thank you.
And it tends to come up a lot in the education circle is what are you getting out of you teaching? What I
Right.
am getting out of teaching English, and of course I'll mesh other, you know, activities in there, such as
Yes,
art will be a part of it, music will definitely be a part of it,
definitely.
because that's who I am. What I'm getting out of is the knowledge that if I can at least change one student's life for the better, then I've done my job. I've done my part. You know, what I am also getting is to have connections with our community once again, to bring that back to where students see them in some of the work.
Yeah.
One piece of literature that I was just teaching, you know, my seventh and eighth graders, and for any of your viewers that's out there, if they have seventh and eighth graders that have not read this book, it's called Ghost Boys. They
Okay.
should really check that book out because it's really interesting. It's about a 12-year-old boy that, you know, it's true to life actually,
Right.
that got shot by a white police officer,
Mhm.
you know, and navigating that with asking these 12 and 13-year-olds, you know, well, what are your thoughts? What are your feelings as we go through the book? It is so fascinating, so interesting to see what these kids are getting out of it, you
Yeah.
know, and saying, you know what, well, I think this is wrong. This was a better way of handling it. Absolutely. You know, and these are questions that we should be asking. You know, everybody, you know, well, the system wants to ban everything. They're banning all sorts of books. They're banning math books in different cities and states, different reading material. It is truly up to you as parents to bring forth this literature that our children are lacking. You
Right.
know, you have to get them to read something. You know, I don't care if you allow them to read your mail.
Right.
Make
Right.
sure that your children are reading so that they can, you know, at least articulate what's going on when they get in front of people that does not look like them, who has
Right.
already made an assumption of the type of person they are and the type of vocabulary that's coming out of their mouths.
Right.
And that's, you know, that's something that I am trying to bring forth. So I'm getting that peace of mind that I am doing my part out of English education, you know, ensuring that no matter what, my students, all of them, but mainly my Black and Brown students, understand who you are as a person. I am using English as a way to teach them the American history, the true American history within the curriculum that they give me. Why? Because something is lacking with what we are teaching our children in school.
Right.
But it also starts at home. So parents, you yourselves have to do your part as well. You can't put it all off on the schools and the English teachers and any of the teachers, truthfully, to do your job, you know, because if you're sending your child to school only so they have a babysitter, then you've already felt that child.
Right.
But
Right.
if you're teaching them at home, the education is important, not so much as to get a grade from it, but to navigate this system that's been
Right.
built and that's working the way that it was put together to work. You
Right.
know, you have to do your part at home to make sure that these students are are navigating within the perimeters of how it was built, but you're also teaching them something as well.
Right.
So
Right.
grab
Let
any
me
book.
yeah, let me say this though, because I agree with you 1000%. Some of the teaching that you do, do with your children at home, about their heritage, their culture. When they go to school, sometimes it's underhanded, undermined, because they're not teaching the same things that you're teaching at home. So again, I want to applaud you, because not only did you say that you wanted to get this, get it out to our Black and colored, children, that they are important, that they need to learn just like the rest of these people, of color, even, like us, even Caucasians, like they're getting the best of the teaching, because they have people that cares, and strive harder for them. So nothing is easy for our Black children. Okay. So for you to step in and want to make it that much easier, I mean, even though it's not easy, you
Right.
yourself is making
Absolutely.
it that much easier for a child to want to come to school, because you want to teach them, because you
Absolutely.
care about what they're learning. You know what I'm saying? So again, and it's not just for your children, it's for all children. It's not
Absolutely.
even just
Yes.
for our Black children, it's for all children. But
It's for
I
all
do,
children.
I do respect the fact that you know your purpose, um
Absolutely.
as far as the teaching, and who it will, I mean, although it will help all the children, where the help is most needed, and that's where you're placing yourself. And with that being
Absolutely.
said, I and it's so, I don't even know what to say, heroic of you to want to step in and rescue our children, to stop allowing our children to feel like school is not a part of them, that the street is who they are.
Right.
So with that being said, I love, I love the way that you're bringing it about. And I want to inspire more children, more young adults, more up and coming entrepreneurs, within our children. And I want more of them to be able to see this and to relate to this, because I think that you have brought out a lot of points, and I feel like you have poured out so much of your love into all of it,
Yes.
and it's love for the children. And that's mostly what we all need to focus on, is our children. When I say our children, I mean all the Black children. I'm not
Yes.
excluding white children, Chinese, or any of that nature, but I'm
Right.
just saying that as a people, as our people, we know that we need a little more attention from us,
True.
you know. So,
Representation is key. That's part of it. And my job is to ensure that they feel valued.
right,
There's nothing worse than someone feeling as though their voice is not being heard, their
right,
voice is not being respected. And going through the education system, I've seen that where a lot of
yes,
students will tell me,
yes,
I don't feel as though teachers value my opinion,
right,
value my thoughts. And that's not the type of educator I am. That's not the type of educator I want to be. I
right.
want to ensure that children understand that I am not hearing them at all. I'm
Right,
never going to hear any student. I'm never, ever going to hear them because I'm going to always actively listen to them.
right,
And when you actively listen, it means you trying to gain an understanding as to what this child is saying, what this young adult is saying. And that's why when a lot of people say, "Oh, I hear you," I tend to like side eye them to say, "Okay, do you hear me or are you listening to me?"
right,
Because there is a difference. You can hear me, but it's just flowing. You just
right,
hear the words and they're going. You're hearing me so you can answer me. That's not what I'm about. What
right,
I'm about is listening gain an understanding so that I can answer with the most positive, correct feedback that I can give that person, you know, and children of color just feel as though, their voices are not heard. They're not seen,
Exactly.
and they want to be seen. And that's why they start to act out in some of these classes
Exactly.
because there is no real representation of them until February comes around and they're, talking about Black History Month. And then they're not really giving them that much of the history within itself to begin with. And I'm using English education as a way for them to allow their voices to be heard,
Right.
allow their thoughts to get out there and to let them know that you are valued. At least here in this class, in my eyes, you are valued. And to give them some thoughts for themselves to go home and say, hey, mom and dad, my teacher was reading this book with me. Can we talk about it? Can we discuss it? To open up that dialogue in the Black family again, to ensure that we start bringing our families back together. Because as of right now, there's so many demons out there that's trying to tear apart the Black family,
Yes.
taking our children for themselves when we need to grab a hold of our kids and hold on to them tight. And it truly does take a village to take care of our children right
Yeah.
now. We have to get back to that.
And I truly have to, again, thank you for, our children, for being there for our children of color. Again, we definitely need more of you. So, again, there's no wrong answer. And I see you instilling that in our children, just giving them a voice and allowing them to be heard, is one of the things that I think, like you said, our children are lacking, which makes them not know how valuable they are to us.
Absolutely.
Because lately nobody has time for their children.
It's unfortunate, but
And again, I can honestly say it's the system, because we have to work harder. We have to work more to be able to maintain, to be able to take care of our families. So that takes us away from our children. That gives our children more freedom, but not enough time that we're able to install what they need to know to be able to be a little more responsible.
True, but also to piggyback off of that, I won't too much say as that, parents are working too hard. What I found over the past, I would say 10 years, is that a lot of parents or people would prefer to live above their means than really take a step back and try and build. Because if you take 5 years out of your life to basically live poorly, very poorly, meaning you only get what it is that you need to survive, within those 5 years, you've accumulated so much wealth for yourself.
Yeah.
Start some investments, start something where we won't have this conversation to say, well, parents are working 2 and 3 jobs, because then that's why they don't have time for their children. What I've seen was that's not the case
Yeah.
always. I've seen
Not
parents
always.
working,
Not always.
right. I've seen parents working 2 and 3 jobs, and that's only so they themselves can live lavish. And they're
Oh,
living
I
for,
beg to differ, because sometimes, I mean, don't get me wrong, because I know that because you have a nice family, a nice sized family
right.
yourself. But at some point, when you're a single parent and you work in those many jobs, it is so that you can support, especially if you have.
Don't misunderstand me and don't mistake me. I'm not speaking it. I'm generalizing it. It's
Yeah,
not a
yeah.
specific person.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just
No,
general.
but I'm just saying, at the end of the day, we can go and we can say this and we can say that. But at the end of the day, I know that whatever is going on with our children, we need to pay more attention.
That's it
We
at the
need
back
to
end of the day.
invest more of ourselves, and we need to figure out a way to do that and be able to maintain at the same time.
Absolutely. And get
because
them to reading. Get them to
yeah,
reading. I'm telling you, when I started this English journey, I'll be honest with you, I read books and it was like, okay, I read them. But once I really got into reading, it's so many places these kids can go with reading.
yeah.
It's really true. It's
You
so
know
many
what? It
things
is
that they
many
can see.
places, but I mean, and not being, weird or anything, but sometimes, it's to the point where you worry about your kids going out that door. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, I get
You
that.
worry, and it's not just from one person, it's from, and I'm not being weird or anything, but you know, it's so much killing. The police is doing a lot,
Absolutely. I
random
get it.
people are doing a lot, and even our own,
No, I definitely
so
understand, and that's why I said get them into books because
yeah,
it's so many places that they can go reading a book without leaving a room. Is what
yeah,
I'm saying. They
yeah,
can
yeah.
learn about Africa sitting right in their room if they open up a
Yes,
book.
yes,
They
yeah,
can learn about Egypt, Kemet. They can learn about themselves.
yes,
They don't
yes,
have to worry about when they get to school and school is telling them that, well, this is how the people look. When you open a book, it's you can challenge that teacher. And
right,
I'm there for
right,
the challenges. You see,
yes,
that's my goal is to get children to think outside of what they've been taught.
yes, yes, yes,
Challenge me. That's what I want you to do. I want you to
yes.
challenge me because I've always been a child and a student that challenged everybody. Even now,
Awesome,
as
awesome.
an adult, I do. I question everything. Someone
Yeah,
tells me something, I go, okay, great. And I'll go do my research on it. And if we want to have a discussion about it, absolutely. Let's have a
yeah,
discussion about it.
yes,
A
yes,
part of it is learning to agree to disagree and go off and do some research and then come back together and say, you know what, you
yes.
were right, or here, this is what I found. You were wrong. You know what? I humbly apologize. You were correct and I was wrong.
And that's why you're the teacher.
Hey, I try.
Yes, yes.
I
Well, let
try.
me tell you, you're schooling me, okay?
It's all love. It's all love. It's all
Listen,
love.
listen, and I
Definitely.
love it. Thank you so much.
You are
You
more than
are,
welcome.
again, I can't say it enough. You're amazing,
Thank you so much for
and
having me, too.
you listen, this won't be the last time. I actually enjoyed, this interview because you've said a
Cool.
lot. I mean, you even taught me a few things, just doing this interview. So, and with that being said, I definitely have to have you again.
Good. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Definitely. I even want to I want to follow your progress mostly,
Okay.
so
Good.
that's definitely a
I'll keep
must.
you informed. I'll definitely keep you informed.
Oh, and that would be amazing because again, like I said, the things that you're doing for our children, they need to know.
Thank you.
So just having you on here is just that much closer to reaching our children, not just in the school building. You know what I'm saying? Just period. And
Absolutely.
the
Yes.
way that you speak, it's not it's what you say, but it's more so how you saying it, and it's truly coming from the heart, which allows people to be able to hear you, to listen to you, to see you. You
Right.
understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So I mean, just again, I applaud you. You are
Thank you.
amazing. Thank you. Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank
Everyone, this is Mr. Ab.
you. Thank you.
An awesome man about to be out there teaching our children, giving them value, letting them learn more about their values, and most definitely letting them know that Black Lives Matter.
Always.
Thank you so much, Mr.
You're
Ab.
more than
You
welcome.
are
Thank you again for having me.
amazing. You are
Thank you.
definitely amazing. I don't know what else to say other than that.
Keep on doing what you're doing. You're helping many
Thank,
people doing this. Thank you so much.
thank you.